First contact gone wrong. The massive alien ship appeared over Stockholm on a quiet Tuesday morning. Its smooth silver surface reflected the sunlight, causing millions to stop and stare at the sky. On the bridge of the Galactic Council's diplomatic vessel, Representative Zorgax adjusted his universal translator and smiled. Another primitive world to add to the Council's growing list of protectorates. "Sir, we're receiving thousands of radio signals," his assistant reported. "The humans are trying to communicate." Zorgax nodded. "As expected, send our standard greeting message." Within hours, Earth's governments had organized an emergency meeting. Ambassador Nadia Sarin sat at the main table in the United Nations, her hand steady despite the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. At 37, she had handled many difficult negotiations, but nothing like this. The hologram of Zorgax appeared above the UN podium. He was tall and thin, with blue skin and 3 glowing eyes. "People of Earth," he said, his voice translated into all Earth languages, "the Galactic Council welcomes you. We have watched your development for many years. Now you are ready to join our great family of civilizations, as a protected species, of course." Nadia stood up. "Thank you for your offer, Representative Zorgax. However, Earth would prefer to join as a full member, not a protectorate." Zorgax's eyes widened in surprise. "And what makes you think you qualify for full membership?" "We have developed space travel, quantum computing, and are making progress in many scientific fields," Nadia replied. Zorgax laughed, a grating metallic sound. "Primitive ion engines and basic quantum encryption," he scoffed. "Ambassador, you have barely left your cradle. The Council's smallest scout ships could disable all your satellites in minutes." The threat wasn't subtle. Nadia kept her face calm, but her hands tightened beneath the table. "Perhaps we could discuss a trial period," she suggested, "to allow Earth to prove its worth." Zorgax's eyes narrowed to glowing slits. "The Council has rules, Ambassador. Worlds either qualify for membership or they don't. Earth does not. Accept our protection, or—" He left the threat hanging. In the back of the room, a young Brazilian intelligence officer named Captain Vasco Oliveira quietly tapped on his tablet, sending an encrypted message. Far below the Atacama Desert, in a hidden base, General Sofia Rojas read his report with growing concern. They weren't dealing with a friendly first contact. The aliens had come to dominate. She turned to the engineers and scientists around her. It was time to advance their timetable. Over the next few days, more Council ships arrived in orbit around Earth. They made no aggressive moves, but their message was clear: resist and face the consequences. Ambassador Sarin tried every diplomatic approach Earth's hastily assembled first contact team could devise. She offered exchanges of culture and technology, proposed trade deals, even suggested a limited form of the protectorate status that would still allow humanity some autonomy. Zorgax rejected every proposal. "You fail to understand your position," he told her in their final meeting. "The Council protects primitive species from themselves. We will guide your development, uplift you when you are ready. It is for your own good. I advise you to accept this with gratitude." Nadia met his glowing gaze without flinching, though her heart was pounding. "And if we refuse?" Zorgax leaned forward, his thin lips twisting into a cold smile. "Then, Ambassador, we will protect you from yourselves, by any means necessary." As the alien ships tightened their blockade around Earth, humanity's leaders debated their few options. Nadia knew that Zorgax would never back down. The Council had too much to lose if the primitives refused to submit. General Rojas and the Atacama team had a plan, but it was desperate, risky, and could easily lead to Earth's annihilation if it failed. Nadia gave the order to proceed. They were out of time and choices. Under the Atacama Desert, the greatest secret in human history was preparing to launch. Zorgax and the Council were about to learn that the primitive humans were anything but. The balance of power in the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity's secret weapon. Deep below the Atacama Desert, a hidden door opened in the side of a mountain. General Sophia Rhodes stepped through, her footsteps echoing on the metal walkway. She emerged onto a balcony overlooking an enormous underground hangar. Technicians and engineers swarmed over the sleek black shape dominating the space below. The AES Prometheus, Earth's first and only intergalactic battleship. 5 years earlier, an alien scout ship had crashed in the Atacama. Before the Council could recover its technology, human forces had secured the site. In secret, Earth's top scientists had studied and reverse-engineered the damaged ship's advanced systems. What they learned had both thrilled and terrified them. The aliens' power cores, propulsion, and weapons were centuries beyond anything humans had developed. Even more shocking was what the ship's computers revealed about the galaxy beyond Earth. A vast interstellar community existed, but it wasn't the peaceful federation of sci-fi dreams. The Galactic Council ruled hundreds of worlds, exploiting their resources and keeping lesser species firmly under its control. Humanity, it seemed, had narrowly avoided becoming their latest acquisition. Sophia had committed herself to ensuring that narrow escape became a permanent victory. The Prometheus project had been her brainchild, a ship to match the aliens, built and crewed in secret, Earth's trump card. She'd fought for every resource, every scrap of alien tech, poured her heart and soul into this mad gamble. Now, it was time to see if it would pay off. Status report, she called out as she strode into the command center overlooking the hangar. All systems are in the green, replied Dr. Kejiso Botha, the project's chief engineer. The zero-point energy core is stable. Grav engines are online. The neutronium armor held up perfectly in the stress tests. Sophia allowed herself a tight smile. Kejiso and his team had worked miracles with the alien tech and the weapons. Particle beams are fully charged. The singularity torpedoes are armed and ready. We even managed to improve on the Council's designs. They won't know what hit them. Perfect. Sophia turned to the woman standing at the command table, studying a holographic display of the forces arrayed against them. Admiral Durand, I believe the Prometheus is ready for her captain. Admiral Jean Durand, hero of the asteroid wars and humanity's most brilliant naval strategist, looked up with a fierce grin. About bloody time. Let's go introduce ourselves to our new neighbors. As the Admiral and her hand-picked crew boarded the Prometheus, Sophia watched the massive ship come to life. The entire mountain seemed to thrum with barely contained power. She thought of the brave men and women aboard, each one sworn to secrecy, many leaving behind families who couldn't be told the truth. They knew the risks, the odds against them. Yet they had volunteered, fought for the honor to be here. To be the first line of defense for Earth and all humanity. Sophia had never been prouder. Ambassador Sarin's message came through just as the final launch preparations began. The Council was done waiting. Zorgax was threatening orbital bombardment of Earth's cities unless humanity surrendered immediately. They needed more time. Sophia made the call. Admiral Durand, you have a go for launch. Give the Council something else to worry about. With pleasure, General. Even over the comlink, Sophia could hear the fierce determination in Jean's voice. See you on the other side. The hangar roof retracted, exposing the Atacama's clear night sky. Sophia watched as the Prometheus, all darkness and power, rose from its berth on a pillar of blue-white light. It hung for a moment, a black silhouette against the stars, then shot upward and vanished. The most advanced ship ever built by human hands was on its way to confront the galaxy. In the Prometheus's command center, Admiral Durand settled into her seat. Around her, the bridge crew reported in, their voices calm and focused despite the magnitude of their task. All stations, prepare for intersystem jump, Jean ordered. Let's go give the Council a wake-up call they'll never forget. The Prometheus's engines surged, space twisted, and Earth's secret weapon leaked towards its destiny. The Galactic Council was about to learn that the primitive humans were full of surprises. The Thunderbolt rises. In orbit around Earth, the Galactic Council ships maintained their blockade. Representative Zorgax lounged in his command chair, his 3 eyes half closed in boredom. The humans were taking longer to capitulate than he'd expected, but they would break soon enough. They always did. "Sir," the sudden shout from his sensor officer jerked Zorgax upright. "We have an unknown contact approaching at high speed." It just appeared out of nowhere. "What?" On screen. Zorgax leaned forward as the display flickered to life, and felt his blood run cold. A ship was approaching, but it was unlike any Zorgax had ever seen. It was a jagged arrowhead of gleaming black metal, all hard angles, and barely contained menace. No council species built ships like that. They favored smooth curves, elegant designs that proclaimed their superiority. This thing looked like a weapon, a blade forged for a single lethal purpose. Where did it come from? Zorgax demanded, his mind racing. Had the humans called for aid from some unknown power? "Unknown, sir. It's not registering on our subspace sensors. It's like it just popped into existence." Zorgax watched the strange ship approach, a cold dread settling over him. "Hail them. I want to know who they are and what they're doing here." But before the comms officer could comply, the black ship sent a message of its own. A hologram flickered to life on the bridge. A human woman in a dark uniform, her eyes hard and unyielding. "This is Admiral Jean Durand of the AES Prometheus, representing the United Earth Alliance," she said, her voice steely calm. "You have violated our sovereign space and threatened our people with unjust aggression. We demand you withdraw all Council forces immediately and open diplomatic talks, or face the consequences." Zorgax gaped at the hologram, shock momentarily overriding his fear. He'd dealt with humans, assessed their technology. They were centuries away from anything like this. "Impossible," he sputtered. "Humans do not have such ships. You cannot be from Earth." Admiral Durand raised an eyebrow. "We are full of surprises, Representative Zorgax. You were warned not to underestimate us. Now, will you withdraw, or do we need to demonstrate just how advanced our primitive species has become?" Zorgax's eyes narrowed. Who did this creature think she was? "You are one ship against the might of the Galactic Council. We have crushed far greater powers than you. Surrender now, and your world may yet receive mercy." Durand smiled coldly. "Prometheus, initiate Ragnarok Protocol. Authorization: Durand Alpha Foxtrot." And the human ship opened fire. Beams of incandescent blue-white energy lanced out from the Prometheus, stabbing through the Council formation. Shields flared and died under the onslaught. Armor boiled away. Hulls shattered. In seconds, a dozen Council ships were reduced to glowing wreckage. Zorgax stared in disbelief, then lunged for his tactical console. "All ships, converge on that vessel. Destroy them." The Council ships wheeled, bringing weapons to bear in a storm of missiles and energy bolts. But the strange human ship wove through the firestorm with impossible grace, its dark hull seeming to swallow the fury directed against it. It struck back with lightning precision, every shot crippling or killing its target. On the Prometheus's bridge, Admiral Durand directed the battle with cool efficiency. Her crew was silent, focused, carrying out their well-drilled tasks with smooth professionalism. This was what they had trained for, the moment they had all prepared for. "Singularity torpedoes," Durand ordered. "Full spread. Let's finish this." Black projectiles erupted from the Prometheus's launch tubes, each one a miniature black hole encased in a containment field. They vanished into the Council fleet and detonated. Space itself seemed to convulse as the artificial singularities tore through the alien ships, ripping them apart on the quantum level. In moments, it was over. Zorgax's ship was a battered ruin, half its decks open to space, the survivors desperately sealing breaches and tending to their wounded. He stared at the drifting wreckage that had been his proud fleet, his mind numb with shock. The hologram of Admiral Durand reappeared. She looked grimly satisfied. I say again, Representative Zorgax, withdraw. Now, Earth is not yours to conquer or control. We stand ready to defend ourselves and to take our rightful place in the galaxy. What happens next is up to you. Zorgax found himself nodding, his arrogance and ambition forgotten in the face of this impossible defeat. Yes, yes, of course. We will leave at once and inform the Council of these developments. See that you do. Durand's image vanished. Aboard the Prometheus, the bridge crew rose and cheered, hugging each other in joyful disbelief. Against all odds, they had won. Earth was safe. Admiral Durand allowed herself a moment to savor their victory. But she knew this was only the beginning. The Council would be back, and there would be new dangers to face. Humanity's greatest challenge and its greatest adventure was just starting. She smiled fiercely. Bring it on, she thought. We're ready. Confrontation in orbit. In the shocked aftermath of the Prometheus's victory, a tense standoff developed in Earth orbit. The surviving Council ships, led by a badly rattled Zorgax, held position on one side. Opposing them was the Prometheus, dark and lethal, daring the aliens to make another move. On the human ship's bridge, Admiral Durand conferred with General Rojas and Ambassador Saren via secure hololink. The Council forces are in disarray, Durand reported, but they haven't withdrawn completely. Zorgax is stalling, probably trying to contact his superiors for instructions. Saren nodded grimly. He won't give up easily. Backing down now would be a huge loss of face. He'll try to salvage something from this mess. Let him try, Rojas growled. The Prometheus can handle anything he throws at us. I agree, said Durand, but we need to think beyond this immediate confrontation. The whole galaxy will know about this soon. Other powers may see this as a chance to make their own plays against the Council. We could have an interstellar war on our hands. Saren frowned thoughtfully. Or an opportunity. The Council's image as an invincible power has been shattered. The oppressed species under their thumb may see this as a chance for liberation. Earth could gain valuable allies. Rojas leaned forward. Then let's press our advantage. Force the Council to the negotiating table on our terms. Admiral, open a channel to Zorgax. It's time for some gunboat diplomacy. Aboard the Council flagship, Zorgax paced his command deck, his eyes flicking nervously between the looming bulk of the human ship and his flickering holo-displays. Reinforcements were still hours away, and his urgent messages to Council leadership had gone unanswered. He was alone and running out of options. A chime sounded, announcing an incoming transmission. Zorgax signaled to his comms officer, and the image of Admiral Durand appeared. The human woman's gaze was cold and unyielding. Representative Zorgax, she said without preamble, you have 1 hour to gather your ships and leave Earth space. Non-compliant vessels will be treated as hostile. This is your final warning. Zorgax drew himself up, trying to project confidence he did not feel. You may have won a single battle, human, but you cannot hope to stand against the full might of the Council. We will have our retribution for this outrage. Durand raised an eyebrow. I seem to recall you saying something similar before we reduced your fleet to scrap, but by all means, continue to underestimate us. It's worked out so well for you thus far. She leaned forward, her eyes hard. Or perhaps you could learn from your mistakes. The galaxy is changing, Zorgax. Old powers are falling, new ones are rising. Earth will have a seat at the table, one way or another. Better to join us willingly than to be pushed aside. Zorgax opened his mouth to retort, then hesitated, uncertainty flickering across his face. The human was right. The balance of power had shifted in a way no one could have predicted. Durand pressed her advantage. A new balance of power. The Council ships withdrew from Earth orbit, limping back to their own space. The news of their defeat spread like wildfire across the galaxy, sparking a wave of shock and disbelief. The mighty Galactic Council, beaten by a supposedly primitive species. It was unthinkable. But the proof was undeniable. The wreckage of council ships drifted in the void around Earth, mute testament to the power of humanity's secret weapon. And the Prometheus now stood guard over its homeworld, a silent sentinel daring any would-be conqueror to test their luck. Ambassador Saren found herself in a whirlwind of diplomatic activity. Representatives from a dozen species, many of them chafing under council rule, reached out covertly to Earth. They offered congratulations, tentative offers of alliance, requests for the secret of Earth's advanced technology. Saren fielded each query with polite caution, knowing that humanity was now a major player in a very dangerous game. At emergency council meetings, Zorgax and his faction fought a desperate political rearguard action. They downplayed the extent of their losses, dismissed the human victory as a fluke, argued for a massive punitive invasion of Earth. But too many had seen the footage of the Prometheus in action. Too many now questioned the Council's strength and authority. The cracks in their power were spreading. On Earth, a stunned humanity grappled with the reality of their new status. The existence of the Prometheus and its alien-derived technology was revealed to the public, sparking worldwide celebrations, confusion, and unease. Governments struggled to control the narrative, to assure their populations that Earth was now safe, that the future belonged to them. In the Atacama base, now a hive of activity as the Prometheus's existence was revealed, General Rojas and Admiral Durand met to plan their next moves. Earth had gained a foothold in the galactic stage, but holding it would require all their ingenuity and determination. "The Council will be back," Rojas said grimly. "Zorgax and his hardliners won't accept this humiliation. They'll push for a war of extermination against us." Durand nodded. "Agreed. But they'll have to deal with a lot of internal dissent first. We've shown that they're not invincible. The Council's subject species will be restless, looking for their own chance to break free. That's an opportunity we can exploit. We'll need allies," Rojas mused, "and a better technological base. The Prometheus is a marvel, but it's just one ship. We need a fleet, a space infrastructure, colony worlds we can fall back on if things go badly." "That will take time," Durand cautioned. "We're still newcomers to this galactic stage. We have to walk carefully, not overreach. But you're right. That's the long game we have to play." She stood, looking out over the bustling base. Spacecraft were landing and taking off in a steady stream, the first wave of a human expansion into the stars. "We've opened the door to a wider universe. There will be wonders out there, and horrors. It's a big galaxy, and we're the new kids on the block. But we'll carve out our place, one way or another. Earth will be a power to reckon with." Rojas joined her, her expression determined. "The future is waiting for us. Let's go face it head-on." Far above, the Prometheus settled into its watchful orbit, a promise and a threat to any who would challenge humanity's rise. Earth had taken its first steps into a dangerous new era, but they would not falter, would not yield. The galaxy would never be the same. The end.